Welcome to News Around, the place where culture, celebrity, and style converge with the kind of detail that lingers long after the cameras dim. If you value stories told with care, make sure to subscribe, hit the join button to support our channel, and press like while leaving your thoughts below. Your engagement keeps these stories alive. Today we take you into the luminous pulse of Milan, where two of Turkey's most admired figures, Bahar Bakhtaz and Yağmur Yüksel, transformed an ordinary evening of runway shows into a sequence of moments that read like a modern fable of fashion and devotion. Beneath the pale glow of boulevard lamps and the stately stone facades that frame Milan's historic avenues, the couple arrived not merely as guests but as a phenomenon, a duet of presence and persona that drew the gaze of onlookers, the pens of journalists, and the shutters of cameras in a single, unceasing cadence. Their entrance unfolded like an orchestral movement, an opening phrase that immediately declared both aesthetic intent and a story yet to be told. Bahar, tailored in a suit whose lines hinted at restraint and refinement, presented an image of composed masculinity. Yağmur, swathed in a gown that balanced audacity and grace, translated movement into an improvisation of fabric and light. Together they enacted a tableau that suggested a continuity between art and life, as if Milan's own architectural poetry had conspired to furnish them with a stage. In conversation with the international press, the tenor of their remarks extended beyond the customary platitudes expected of celebrity appearances. Instead, their words articulated a philosophy of style that conflated costume with identity and public image with ethical intent. Bahar framed fashion as a dialectical medium, a language in which silhouette and texture communicate more than surface taste, speaking instead to temperament and outlook. He elaborated, with a reflective cadence, that his relationship to clothing functions as a canvas for persona, a deliberate choice that both articulates and amplifies the roles he inhabits in his professional life. Yağmur, whose public poise belied the private humility she occasionally displays in interviews, conveyed that her sartorial decisions have long been an exercise in self-definition, and that presenting her aesthetic on an international platform represented not vanity but a kind of cultural ambassadorship. As the exchange deepened, what the pair revealed in their answers was an intricate interlacing of personal and professional trajectories. Bahar spoke of forthcoming acting ventures and hinted at collaborations that would bridge performance with sartorial sensibility, while Yağmur articulated plans to integrate creative partnerships into a broader career strategy that embraces both screen and stage. Neither statement felt promotional in the crass sense. Rather, each comment functioned as a piece of a larger narrative about vocation and values, as if their presence at Milan were an index of evolving ambitions rather than a mere publicity touchpoint. Yet behind the shimmer and the carefully curated frames, the conversation they opened with journalists exposed a set of convictions that transcended celebrity styling. When asked about sustainability, a topic whose presence at Fashion Week has evolved from peripheral virtue signaling to central industry imperative, Yağmur spoke with a conviction that suggested lived practice rather than rhetorical adoption. She articulated a clear position, that the embrace of environmentally conscious brands is not a seasonal affectation but an obligation that reflects a collective responsibility toward the planet and future generations. Bahar echoed this sentiment by underscoring the necessity of supporting nascent designers, those whose experimental practices might otherwise be subsumed by the commercial centripetal forces of large houses. Their remarks were not only a reflection of the zeitgeist but also a call to action, framed by the moral logic of stewardship and mentorship. The stylistic choices the couple made for the evening carried symbolic weight. Bahar's suit, cut with precision, its palette subdued, seemed to gesture toward an aesthetic of longevity, while Yağmur's dress balanced dramatic silhouette with an emphasis on craftsmanship, hinting at a preference for pieces that speak as much of the atelier as they do of the wearer. Press photographers, vying for an image that would capture both glamour and intimacy, created a procession of visual artifacts that were uploaded within minutes, inviting rapid appraisal and fervent commentary. The couple's social feeds, previously curated with a blend of professional updates and personal reflection, became a nexus of interaction as followers swarmed to respond, to praise, and to wonder aloud about the implications of such high-profile representation abroad. Beyond the immediate social media ripple, the significance of their Milan appearance lies in the trajectories it may catalyze. Barres hints at brand collaborations intimate a forthcoming phase in which his public persona might more overtly intersect with design, not merely as endorsement but as co-creation. Humorous articulation of style as a medium for agency gestures toward projects that could integrate fashion and performance into new synergies, endeavors perhaps aimed at amplifying female voices within creative industries. That their statements were articulated in tandem, with mutual reinforcement rather than unilateral spotlighting, suggested that their professional evolutions might proceed in parallel as well as in partnership. While the spectacle of the runway often privileges immediacy and sensation, this couple's Milanese sojourn suggested a longer view, one in which appearances are leveraged to provoke discourse, in which the optics of glamour serve as portals to substantive conversation. As they thanked members of the press at the conclusion of their interview, the tone of gratitude they expressed felt less like a perfunctory ritual and more like an acknowledgement of a shared endeavor, an implicit invitation to the industry to consider questions of sustainability, mentorship, and artistic responsibility with renewed seriousness. The images and clips they released after the festival offered further texture to their shared narrative, behind-the-scenes glimpses of makeup chairs and costume fittings, quick exchanges with designers, and candid videos of pre-show nerves transformed into post-show relief. Such content humanized the spectacle, granting followers a sense of proximity without diminishing the couple's aura. The public reaction, measured in thousands of likes and a deluge of comments, reinforced a truth that social metrics often obscure, that visibility on its own yields little unless paired with authenticity and purposeful engagement. Bar and Yağmur, through the delicate choreography of their presence and pronouncements, appear to grasp this dynamic. As the lights of Milan recede into the archive of shared images and editorial pages, the broader question remains: how will these moments inform their next moves? Will Bar deepen his involvement with labels that harmonize with his aesthetic convictions, and will Yağmur expand her role as an interlocutor between fashion and broader cultural concerns? The speculation is inevitable, but the more compelling narrative is one we witnessed firsthand: a couple who, in choosing how they dress and what they champion, shaped not only their public images but also a conversation about responsibility, craft, and the kinds of legacies one chooses to build. If this feature moved you, if it made you rethink the ways celebrities can influence culture beyond tabloid headlines, then remember to subscribe to Newsaround, press like, and use the join button to help us continue bringing you nuanced coverage from the worlds of fashion and entertainment. Tell us below which moments from Milan you loved most and which celebrities you want us to track next. Your voice shapes our reporting. Thank you for reading, for watching, and for being part of our community. Until our next story, keep your attention poised on the intersections where beauty, intention, and artistry meet.